one sec. Here I am. I'm Isabel Alcázar. I'm head of sustainability at IE University. I'm a person. I don't know if you can see my screen. Is it working? Yeah. But it's like not working. Yeah, it is. Sorry. I'm Spanish. Sorry. I'm short. I mean, I'm not very tall. I'm short. It's a description of myself. I'm white. I'm a mother of 3 girls. I'm a hard worker. I'm a molecular biologist. I'm a sports person. You know, I'm many things, just as many of you are. Most of you will be. But if someone asks me to choose one thing I really am, I can say that I'm Isabella. I'm simply me. And that's something that I'm very lucky, because this is not the reality for millions of people around the world. Women, but also many others that aren't treated with respect or as equals. Thanks to the hard work of many women and men during many years, we now have, well, we are now able to celebrate, for example, Women's Day. And thanks to them, I'm here with you, and I can be simply myself, and that's a great honor. There are many ways through which change can happen, but in my opinion, nothing works as well as example, just like these people are an example to follow, and also education has a very important role here. Being part of a diverse and inclusive community helps each of us switch our mindsets towards principles of tolerance and respect, not only for the people that live around us, our inner community, but also for society and nature as a whole. I am very proud to say that I'm also an active member of this community. I'm in IE, and my goal at IE is to transform the university into an experiential place for sustainability. I would like each of you to embrace the sustainability culture and spread the word, because what you do is a reflection of who we are as a community. And also what you do will determine what is it that we can do, which is the positive impact our community can do in society, in the planet. And that's really important for us. Well, we set ourselves a very ambitious goal, and that's to become a model in sustainability by 2030. And I'm also optimistic. That's another quality of mine. I'm optimistic, and I think we will reach our target before 2030. I think before 2030, we will have 0 net emissions, and that we would have been able to promote the sustainable mindset in everyone. Each year, we will have a new challenge, and we will be tackling social, environmental, and the economic and governance issues of sustainability. Last year, our challenge was responsible consumption, and our goal was to reduce our environmental impact. This year, our challenge is community building, and we want to measure the impact our community is making. We want to mainstream sustainability into all aspects of the university, and this involves rethinking the curriculum, campus operations, as well as the organizational culture. In this way, we think that the whole institution itself can function as a role model, example, and education. Remember that just by being here today in this conference, celebrating International Women's Day, you have already started the chain of change. So congratulations. I hope you have a great evening today. Thank you. I have to. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Isabella, for the wonderful opening, and absolutely full support to the IE Sustainability Department. Technology is revolutionizing, as also what Isabella mentioned. It's revolutionizing the workplace and the trends such as AI, robotics, automation, gig economy, remote working, and more on. It's all transforming the jobs we do and how we interact with our workplace. The pace and scale of technological disruption, with its risks of unemployment and growing income inequality, are as much a social and political challenge as a business one. Adapting to a digital age will require organizations and not just its employees to equip themselves with new capabilities. The aim of this event is to bring together key executives from the HR, recruitment, education, or even training sector. This event will focus on the opportunities and challenges in the workplace and what tools you will need to drive transformation across your workplace. And now give the stage to Ines to take over the introduction for today's speakers and panels. Thank you.
Thank you, Dikshika. Again, thank you all for coming and happy International Women's Day. During today's conference, we will have two panels that are going to talk about topics around the future of work. In the first panel, starting at 5, there will be an interesting discussion of how companies and startups are challenging the preconceptions of work. With the pandemic hitting the world 1 year ago, our idea of working has been disrupted, and we are now acknowledging the value of having flexibility at work. But how and has our productivity been affected? Will we ever want to go back to the 9 to 5 office, or are there any other work models that are going to prevail? Make sure to join us to hear the voices of 3 women leaders. The first panelist will be Ana Paredes. Ana is currently Givenchy's Senior Marketing Manager with more than 9 years of experience in the luxury industry. Ana began her career in the DLB Group and later joined LVMH fragrance brands in New York. We will also have Marta Echaji. With more than 50 years of experience in international banking, Marta joined N26 at the beginning of 2021 as Managing Director of Spain and Portugal, with the responsibility of leading the growth strategy and presence of the digital bank in both markets. Finally, Yolanda Diaz Villarrubia. Yolanda has developed various management responsibilities at multinational environments related to human resources and talent for 15 years. Currently, Yolanda is associate professor in several universities and business schools, while also being a business and executive coaching and co-founder associate of WA First Team. Right after, at 6, we have the second and last panel of the day. There will be a discussion around reinventing yourself in this new normal. This panel is all around adaptation. The pandemic has accelerated a growing trend of entrepreneurship. Also, in the corporate world, there has been changes introducing new collaboration tools to strive in the new normal. The panel will be answering questions as, how can we embrace the shift to more independent and digital ways of working? How can we think outside the box and innovate our careers? And what role is reskilling going to play in ensuring that you have career opportunities? To guarantee an amazing debate, we will have 4 different speakers. To start with, Nir Indin, who is responsible for the Artian, a transdisciplinary training company that fuses and mixes art in business and technology environments to pursue originality. He is a mentor in leading startup programs too. Also, Mar Iscanes she has been part of the corporate world as a consultant and manager and is now exploring the world of innovation in all its aspects. At Zapiens, a technology startup, Mar collaborates with an association that promotes entrepreneurship in rural environments. Finally, Georgia Otati, after the first years of experience as HR specialist in recruiting firms, Georgia joined a multinational company of the tobacco industry. Since December 2017, Georgia works in MasterCard as HR manager. As the last panelist, we will also have Elana Lowenthal. Elana entered the world of entertainment a few years later as apparel licensing coordinator at Nickelodeon. And only after 5 years inside the company, she already took the position of Director of Retail Development. Since 2005, she has been part of the HBO team, and she's now VP Marketing in Spain and Creative Lead in Europe. Both panels will take 1 hour each and will both have time for Q&A. We sincerely hope that you enjoy the conference and have fun. I'd like to thank all the speakers already for having the availability and commitment to be present on today's conference. I now pass my word to Camila for her to present the keynote speaker of today.
Well, thank you very much, Ines, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. First off, and once again, happy International Women's Day. I think you can't get enough of these words today, and you will be hearing them over and over again. My name is Maria Camila Costa, and I'm one of the co-presidents for the undergraduate club, chapter of the club with my teammate Isa. We're all definitely very excited to host our biggest conference yet, but more attendees registered that we could have ever imagined, which is absolutely incredible, and is of course a reflection of this amazing community we've been able to build through the years. So first off, I want to take this opportunity to thank some of the organizations that have supported us since day one. So as a student-led club, we couldn't be luckier to have our university be our biggest sponsor. And that's why I want to give a special thank you from all of the coordinators of the club to these organizations within IE, which are IE Foundation, Talent and Careers, the IE Women Initiative, and Campus Life. So thank you for having our back continuously through the years and for believing in everything the club stands for. Also for this conference, we have the opportunity to partner up with great companies, and also wanted to publicly give a huge thanks to our corporate sponsors. So Amazon Web Services, N26, LVMH Perfumes, Deliveroo, and HBO Spain. Thank you for assisting us with great tools and for actively participating in the creation of this conference. It feels amazing to work with people that advocate for the same goals as we do, which are diversity and inclusivity in the workplace. So thank you for being present. And now moving on, and finally, let's welcome our first keynote speaker. She's an energy generating transformational leader who works with and through people. A woman, we're all so excited to have the opportunity to listen to a woman. I'd like to welcome, and she's our keynote speaker for the day, Susana Curis. She's the head of digital native and ISV business at Amazon Web Services. Susana is here today to talk more about how Amazon's culture, which is centered around innovation, has allowed them to thrive through these difficult times, and how they are also assisting other companies to keep continuous innovation at the heart of their company. And she's an industrial engineer fluent in 5 languages, which make her thrive in a multicultural, innovative, and global technical environment. She has experience in the international growth and operational environments, more than 15 years of international experience in driving new businesses in the convergent world of telecommunications, internet, and media, and now with cloud technologies as accelerators. So thank you for joining us, Susana. Now the floor is yours.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for that introduction. So first of all, it's a true honor and thank you, Instituto de Empresa and Women Club, to have us here today from Amazon. So I'm going to see if I can get my slides on, and then we're going to start. Here you go. Thank you. So, as you said, I've been here with Amazon for now almost 4 years, and I wanted to start with this slide. You can see here that our lemma for this week, which is challenge, champion, and change in the International Women's Days, is really trying to make sure that our employees can commit with us to what are they actually going to do to change the world that we live in terms of society, no? And today I can see what I have on me today. Yes, women can. I took this on as a true honor it's a special day today, and also with the purple bracelet I got this morning from my daughter, which makes it an even a more special moment when we have our daughters coming with us in this journey. So what I've been asked to share with you, and I was when I was putting this together, you know, we get a lot of questions around Amazon. How does Amazon actually innovate? And what I'm going to share with you today is actually what our culture of innovation is about, and how we do that. there are, of course, many ways to innovate. We're not saying that our way is the best or is a perfect one or is the only way to innovate, but it actually, it works well for us. And that's why we're also very happy to share that with the audience as the one today. So day one, I don't know how many of you have heard that we have a mentality that's called "It's always day one" at Amazon. So this mentality is really a culture and operational model that sets the customer in the center of everything we do. And then, you know, there are many aspects, you're going to have a panel with startups later on. There are many aspects to maintain an agile and startup a day one mentality. But for us, the customer obsession in everything we do is really what sits in the heart of that. And if you look at our mission, it's simple and it's broad. It is to be the Earth's most customer-centric company worldwide. No, and it is broad. You can see that it's not limited to any customer or any technology or any segment. But it's also, in the same that it's broad, it's laser focused. It is, when you ask anybody at Amazon, what is our mission, everybody will share this with you. And having said that, the customer is in the center, but when we start anything, we go from the customer and listen, what are the customer needs? What are the pains? We're trying to address that. But it's not just, asking them as a customer, what is your need, and trying to address that. Is actually understanding the context and the situation of that customer and reinventing in the customer's name. And if we look at AWS, 90% of what we actually take to market comes from customer requests on what they want to see in our features and services. But 10% is really where we are trying to reinvent in their name. And that is really the way that we want the culture around innovation to spread to our customers. Now, the reason, why...
María, la alcancé a ver, salen unos cuadritos chiquitos, ¿no es cierto?
I have somebody with me, right?
Sorry for the company.
That's okay. This is how it is in the technology world. That's okay. So when it comes to why we focus on a customer in the center, and this is a statement from Jeff Bezos from the 2016 letter of shareholders. And I just read a couple of words, but we are all consumers, no? And he says that customers are always beautifully and wonderfully dissatisfied. Even if you think that you're happy and the business is great, you always have a tendency of being dissatisfied. And if you have a desire to delight the customer with that situation, you will actually go the extra mile and invent on the behalf of the customer. And that is what we have at the core of our company. And if you look at Amazon, these are the businesses that we have, and we started in 1994 with ebooks and the entire e-commerce and retail business. Then we went over to DVD and CDs. AWS started in 2006. Devices in 2007, where Kindle was the first device that we took to the market. We went into streaming with Video Prime Video in 2011. Continued with consumables in 2012, and then now very recently physical retail. And all these businesses, they have something in common. They have all started working backwards with a need that we try to address. And if you look, I don't know if you've heard about Amazon Go, which is our physical retail store, where we didn't go into that business just for the sake of it, but we really tried to resolve a common issue. Is there any way that we can remove, waiting lines in the checkout process in the stores? And that's how Amazon Go was born. So having said that, so how do we then organize for innovation? We have 4 pillars: culture, mechanisms, architecture, and organizations. they are all intertwined and they all depend on each other. And it is only when we get them interlocked where we actually move, we call it move innovation to the edge. And we unlock everybody's potential as an employee to innovate. You will not find a head of innovation at Amazon. We expect all the employees to contribute to innovation. So starting with the first one, culture. And when we talk about culture, we hire talent, we hire builders, we let them build, but to maintain a consistency of the people we hire, we have what we call the leadership principles. So we have 14 leadership principles, and there's not come in a special order, but you will actually find that in the beginning you have customer obsession, or in the end you have deliver results, and then you have the 14 in the middle. And you can see some of them, for example, dive deep and bias for action. You can have a tension between the leadership principles. And this is a common language across the company. For me, I've been here now for 4 years, and I must say I use them on a daily basis. We use them from the moment that we hire the talent, from when we evaluate, when we talk internally. So it's really the spine of the company. And here I'm going to just touch upon a couple of them that I think are relevant also to the audience that we have here today, and that for me makes a difference in the way we operate. So invent and simplify, and this is related to the of the culture innovation. So it's expected that teams are supposed to invent and always find ways to simplify. And it's also we accept that not everything will work out fine. There will be periods that we will be misunderstood, and I will talk a little bit about that later. So invent and simplify is one of the key leadership principles that helps us to innovate. Another one is learn and be curious. So we expect that everybody has the ownership to continue to, we believe a lot in continuous learning, how we should improve ourselves, to really find the passion, what you're curious about. Can you bring that into the working place, or also things that you have outside, can you bring that in, and vice versa, no? And then the last one that for me, I think made I don't know if I should say the bigger difference, but for me was an aha experience where I really understood what this is about. We have one that's called insist on higher standards. And there it's really how can we look and seek for excellence in everything we do. So you will find a word that we call bar raising. Is it what we do? Is it bar raising? Is it at the bar, or is it above the bar? No, so we try to do that when we produce products, services, and also processes internally. Can they be improved? And I will talk a little bit about later what we use to detect those and work towards high standards. So here I invite you all to go into Amazon.com and look for leadership principles. There are many things that you can learn out of those, and also when we have conversations with customers, we actually share these with them, and we see how they can contribute and incorporate actually this into their own companies as a part of different processes that they have. And I will talk a little bit later about Meli as a case. The second corner, or the second pillar, is mechanisms. And mechanisms is a process with an input and an output. And it's really a way that we try to encode certain behaviors and not force, but it's really how to get the mental models to think in a certain way of when we analyze situations and we want to create innovative thinking. So here you can see there is a saying by Jeff Bezos, and when you enter into Amazon, you go back a little bit to history of when things were started, and around mechanisms there is a famous speech within the company when Jeff Bezos said that good intention does not work, but mechanisms do. So a lot of times you can come with a good intention, but if you haven't thought it through, what is it, what you want to come out of that, what is the input, and then we have a process in the middle where we actually have an iteration on that mechanism. When we inspect, we have tools, and then depending on what we see in the iteration, then we adopt the entire mechanism so that we can fine tune as we go along. And there are many mechanisms within Amazon. And here, for example, when you call, you talk, for example, to service agent at Amazon.com, there's a mechanism called the Anaccord, where they actually, if they find products that are defective in the Amazon.com page, they can actually stop that product to actually appear on the web page, which is a mechanism that have been developed over time. Another one that we have, in terms of reporting, our weekly business reviews, our monthly business reviews, the quarterly ones, we also have a mechanism to make sure that we can report the right things and we can detect where we see trends that needs to be acted on. And also what mechanisms do, they actually help us to scale. And also as leaders, you have the possibility that you can have a line of sight without having a direct connection to the topic as such now, but you can have a mechanism that helps you to detect where you need to act. And the most common mechanism is what we call the working backwards process. And the working backwards process, what you saw earlier on the 6 areas of business, the working backwards process is the one that we use to innovate around products, customer-centric products. Everything that we launch to the market has gone through the working backwards process. And here again, we start from the customer, the 3 elements. We start from the customer, we make a press release, and we visualize what the press release is going to look like when we launch a product. There is a frequently asked question document, and then there are visuals. And this is really used to get clarity, not something that we write for the document of when you already decided what to do, but it's really to get clarity of what we shall launch to the market. And when it comes to the first element of getting the needs of the customer right, there are 5 questions that we have in the working backward. And this is mechanisms within the mechanisms. No? It's a lanyard. We've actually asked 5 questions to make sure that we start from the right angle. The first one is, who's the customer? The first question we ask, what is the customer problem or opportunity that you're trying to resolve? The third one, is it really clear what the most customer benefit is? We need to answer that so that we know what the value we're going to bring. And also, this is a quite tricky one. How do you actually know what the customer needs and want? And here we want data, anecdotes, facts to make sure that we are really taking the right approach when we launch a new service. And then finally, what will the customer experience look like? And here, as I said earlier, so when Amazon and AWS specifically, when we launch this, we have more than 175 services. All of them have gone through this process. When you have that clear, we go into narrative mode. When I started here, I'm like, wow, they write a lot in Amazon. And I could tell you that 4 years later, it's a muscle that we constantly need to work on. And the reason why we write, we have 2 pages, 4 pages, 6 pages. You can find information about that on the internet. And it's really in writing gives us clarity of thought. It really makes sure that we are putting the right ideas in the paper. It actually gives a better substance, to poor thinking. You actually tap into the collective intelligence in the working space with your peers, with your team, with the top executives. for the paper that you're presenting. And then also what happens with PowerPoint, we believe that that's not the best way to effectively express ideas. And it's also, sometimes PowerPoints, when people are charismatic, they get the message through, but not, we have extrovert, introverts. So we also believe that this is the right way to get the good ideas in writing. So something that you will often see in Amazon, you go into a meeting, there's 20 minutes of reading. People read, give feedback, notes. There is either in printed paper or now a lot with working from home. Everything has gone more digital, so we do that digitally now. But earlier it was printed paper, and just what you see here. And then after those 20 minutes, we go around the table and people ask questions, give feedback. What can you improve? I don't understand this, and that brings us to really raising the bar of the idea that we have. The third pillar is architecture. Architecture is everything around how do we support our employees with structure so that they can work faster towards growth and change. And here in this context, we talk a lot about self-service and also with the balance on self-service and full service. When we actually went through this journey ourselves, when Amazon.com went from that web page, they went from a monolithic code that we had into a microservice environment. And what was the big change here is that developers could easily then go to self-service mode. They could serve their different technologies and different APIs and different development units that they needed, and we can move much faster on adding new features and services to the Amazon.com page. And that is where the cloud gives that agility. And what we always say is that with the mode into self-service of technology, which we've actually democratized technology. So it doesn't matter if you're an employee or if you're a student or if you're a customer, to be able to have access to the same use cases and same services. And this actually, internally, what we see, we also have self-service as whatever can be self-service. We're trying to move into self-service. It can be HR, it can be legal, it is training, it is wikis that actually changes the organization very substantially, because you don't have to wait in line to get access to certain elements or information or data, and you can actually move faster from that perspective. And the fourth one, organization. So organization, Amazon, when we talk about organization and the talent we bring in builders. By builders, we mean people that have a passion to build, to reinvent, to serve, to think out of the box, to really delight the customer. And we try to let them build what they were hired to do. No, and also when we talk about builders, is when you launch something, being it internally, being it external to the customer, it is the starting line. It's not the finish line, and it is a constant iteration of building processes or products forward. And when we gather the teams that we have to assure that we have an effective execution of our organization, we talk about two pizza teams. Now, two pizza teams, there are teams from 5 to 10 people, and why we call them pizza teams, this is supposedly we are to be able to feed them with 2 pizzas. And normally we say they're normally American size pizzas, that everybody gets a piece, no? But here, this was born many years back, and it's really what we've seen. It's the fastest and agile way to assure that teams have ownership and teams have autonomy, that they run what they develop, they run it, and they operate it on what you've actually built. No? And with that, you can maintain a nimble organization when things are decentralized. And these teams, when we talked about the leadership principle, we are expected to innovate often. So we really encourage experimentation early, often, pilot things, test it out, prototypes, because it actually helps to lower the cost of failure. So the more of the culture of experimentation you can have, the less will your cost of failure be. So we really invite our employees to do that. And innovation is not easy. And we also believe that innovation and failure are inseparable twins. Why we mean by that, out of 9 out of 10 times you will fail, but we also know the 10th time, that's when you're going to get your return on investment. And you can see here, Amazon as such, we've failed a lot of times. Back in 99, we launched our first auction that didn't work out very well. We tried with Z-Shops, another model of auction didn't work out well. We continue to work around auctions and marketplaces, and we have now a big part of our business in Amazon retail is the element of marketplace. In the 5 phone in 2014, I know many of you know that we had an intention of taking a phone to the market. Didn't work out, as a big failure. We had to write off more than 170 million of devices. But people that worked on that moved on, were actually injected into other teams to continue working on the device strategy. And now today we have Echoes and Alexas that are part of our devices. So that's why we believe that innovation and failure, we need to embrace it, and we need to learn from failures. So in Amazon, we had 3 big ideas over the last 20 years, and we've stuck with them. And that's also why we consider that we have been successful. So the first one is put customer first. That is on the heart of everything we do. Invent, and most over reinvent. And then last one, to be patient. We have a saying that it's a customer obsessed culture, and we are here in the long term for our customers. So taking us to the customers, I wanted to share a case because it's also I think of interest just to hear how companies are, how we're helping other companies to innovate and come out of difficult situations. So I'm sure that many of you have I hope so, many of you know Melia. You spent maybe a night in their hotels. They went through a very difficult time in 2020 with the pandemic. They had to close down hotels and had to find a way how to become resilient as an organization, and then also look for the next step, how they can innovate to open up hotels again and move their business forward. So here they've been a partner with us now for over 6 years. And when they had to close down the hotels, they actually looked for how can if I close down my hotels, I need to reduce my cost. And as the cloud allows you that elasticity, they could actually reduce their cost of 58% in the first part of the pandemic situation that they had to face, where they linked the on-demand cost to the resource need that they faced with closed hotels. What they also faced is, they wanted to contribute during COVID. In the early days in March, there was a lot of need from the medical professionals, and what they actually did, they opened up their hotels with more than 2,000 free rooms a day, where that was sold out in minutes, and then their systems could then scale as the cloud can just then spin up resources, they could treat that demand in peak hours that they got. And also, you know what they had today, they have more than 500 call center agents. They had to move them to work from home, and they could also do that in less than 1 week using services that we have. And then for me, I think this one is really where we had a lot of conversations with Melia on how could they actually innovate in the checking process, because what they realized they needed to have a way to open up their hotels. So the problem that they tried to resolve here was how could they minimize social contact between the guests and the employees from Melia. And what they invented is something that they call the zero contactless check-in, where they combined facial recognition, scanning ideas, and machine learning to be able to put such a service in their hotels. And they piloted that, and then they're now rolling out that service. So here we've been working very close with them, and they used our digital innovation program where we actually are helping customer to use the same process that we use, working backwards with the PRFAQ, merely actually embrace that culture of launching new services. And this is one of them. So, you know, Melia is working hard to embrace the day one culture, and so are we. You know, we always call ourselves that we are relentlessly hunting for day two signals, and that is also what is in the core of the Amazon culture. So I end here, and I thank you for listening to me today.
Thank you, Susanna. It was wonderful hearing that from you. I open the stage for any questions if anyone has any questions. Yes, Isa.
Hi, Susanna. Thank you so much for coming today. I had a question when it comes to fostering innovation from within the company, and so not having a hierarchy of innovation, but rather everyone contributing. How important do you feel that having a diverse workforce is to foster that innovation that you're seeking?
So when it comes to a diverse workforce, we are true believers that it is the diverse workforce that will be able to address our customer needs. Because if you look at the customers, they are from all genders, all religions, different cultures, and the more diverse we are internally and drive certain projects, the better can we address that. So, for example, one of the innovation projects that was launched, this was, if I don't recall right, 4 or 5 years ago, it was the two black women that really, they found out that in the retail, one of the retail in fashion, there was no products for the hair of black women, which they have another texture. You know, so they wrote a paper on that. The working backwards process, they showed what the need is, what is actually what issue is being addressed, and that product was launched. So there is now a product line to address that category that was actually needed in the market. No, so we are true believers that diversity more than ever is needed, and we talk actually we call it ID and E. It's inclusion, diversity, and equity. These are the three pillars that we have around the diverse workforce.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes.
Hello, this is Juliana. I was wondering, I happen to work in a tech company as well, and I do see for my students as well that women are not that confident in expressing what they think can be innovative or what can be disruptive or something. They have very good ideas, but unless somebody actually validates them, they won't go forward with them. What is something that we can do to actually give them some courage to go on and speak up?
So we are working in various topics, and we have, we believe in mentorship. That we have a mentorship, where we try to make sure that all our workers, being it male or female, has an access to active mentorship, where both mentee and mentor works that out. Then we also have we have workshops around what we call it, to really make sure that the confidence of females are present in everything they do. We have what we call the I'm a Remarkable workshops to help them on that. And then this year was also looking into sponsorships, because we also believe that it's mentor, but it's also sponsorships are needed to address females from different angles. Now it can be career development, it can be an area they want to develop. So that's what we're also putting in place within the company.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes, Anna.
Hi, so my question is mostly related about inclusive ways of communications. So in your opinion, have you seen that there's many companies moving towards a more inclusive way of communicating, such as adapting to different cultures and different personalities within the workforce?
Yes, at least here, what we have, at least what I live here, no, I can only talk about Amazon, but there is a very high awareness about inclusion from all aspects. This year has been a very difficult year in the US for the Black population. We're very sensitive about that. So we're putting in different I would say, I don't know if I should say different programs, but different initiatives around the inclusive work environment. There is training. We have something we call inclusion ambassadors. We have them here in Iberia. We have them at EMEA level. We have them worldwide. We have ID&E leaders across different business units, where actually, when it comes to diversity, is really, they invite you to the party, but what we believe inclusion, they invite you to dance. And we want to make sure that we have to have the inclusion part that really believe makes a difference. No, we also are now, we see projects internally from our development unit where they actually are developing using machine learning to detect biases in applications, in the sites, in our products, the way we read. We actually have, when we do job descriptions, that we can detect is this an inclusive language that we're using. So we have a lot of conversations ongoing, and we try really to put actionable things around it so that we take these changes into a more inclusive work environment.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susanna. Thank you for your time. I want
Pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you. I just want to let everyone know that we'll be moving to our second panel, rather our first panel now, Challenging Preconceptions of Working. We've sent the link in the chat. I welcome everyone to join that link for the panel discussion. And thank you so much, Susanna, for your time.
I'm trying to stop sharing, yeah? Yes, pleasure.
No worries. Thank you for your time, and thank you for answering all the questions. Hi all, I request you to please join the link sent in the chat for panel 1. We'll be closing this conversation here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'll just a last quick thing. We're ending this chat. Please join in the session with the next link provided in the chat. Thank you.